Okay, so viewing last week's progress with white flowers, I thought we could use a little bit more practice with kind of a black background, right? A really dark background and a light flower. So one of the things I want you to observe, and what we're learning is how to mix gray shades that are dark, but lighter than this really dark kind of background, right? So if we were to label these, here is the black and white. What areas would you keep totally white?
Middle where the light is really shining on.
Yeah,
on the petals.
Really, it's here and up here, right? This area should not be really touched. We're going to just draw it in, and then we're going to be, and then these areas are dark, probably the darkest areas of the flower, but they're significantly lighter than their background. So that's what we're going to be working on. So let's see. If I was going to rate, I thought I might write down some of the values on this, and then we'll start to draw it. So if this is a 1, right, meaning I keep it white. This is 2, 2. This might be 1.5, slightly dark. There's like this light, skinny area. Here's a light area here. That part is a 1 also. And then here is a 1. So these areas should all not be painted at all. We're going to draw an outline around them. This is probably a 3, 3, and maybe 3.5, maybe 3.5, maybe 3, 3. You see what I'm doing here? 3. So I'm going to send you this little map. 2, 3. Of lights, mediums, and darks. Hang on, I'm going to give you a grid as well. But I just wanted to give you a sense of values. I'll take a picture of this map so you've got it. Is this helpful to look at?
Yes.
Okay, and then we've got like 4. All right. So take a picture of this little map we have here. And Ange, you can just send pictures of your progress as you're going along on the thread. You're going to see just send me pictures. Send me the original too, if you wouldn't mind, across the thread so I can skip.
I can find it.
Yeah. All right, so once you have that, I'm just going to do a very simple grid. We're not going to do too much, but we are going to do the halfway point. I'm just gonna draw 2 lines. One here and one here. Just so you can kind of see where the shapes are. All right. Next week, we'll be moving to still life, so we can start practicing this with other things. I think the flower is a good beginning. So, marker on my thing. So. So our first lines are going to be these blue ones. Angie, what I can see, make sure not to pop up. Look how low these little wings go. It's easy to make them kind of a little bit too high. There we go. Other than that, it looks great. Okay, so for those of you, Angie's doing this wonderful, copying this wonderful piece by an artist named Bertolum.
Cool.
Awesome.
Did she send it over to us?
Attempting to.
Got it. It's over here. It's over here. Look, so look and you'll see. It's on the thread. And in the meantime,
Ooh, look at that.
I am going to find the halfway point of my 8x10 here. And on either side, and I'm going to draw a very light line across because I want to make sure. I know it's a little hard to see. One of these days. Figured out how to get the lighting right in here. Okay, there we go. And then I'm going to do the same thing up here. I'm going to find the halfway point between 8x10, which is, 10, which is 5. So I'm just giving myself, I'm not giving myself much of a grid. I'm just giving myself a little bit of a grid. So when I start to sketch in this, kind of have a general idea of where things are. I can see actually that the flower is kind of equally centered. So if I figure out where on this side of the grid that is, it's about the same as here.
I'm popping in to say hi, see how long I can stay. I have so much work, I might not be able to stay very long.
Awesome. Diana, this is my friend Angie. She's new. She's not really new to me, but she's new to you guys.
I have to answer a phone call.
Yes, go ahead. And nice to see you too, Lana. You can see the exercise that we've got going here. I'm happy to see Diana. I'm glad because that means she's making just a little bit of time for herself.
Okay, I'm back. I missed it.
I'm just happy that you're here. It means you're making a little bit of time for yourself in this crazy moment.
Yeah, it's super crazy right now.
Yeah. And Diana is the director of the LA Press Club, and they have a giant gala coming out in like
4 weeks.
4 weeks, and it's like a fucking indoor gala. As you can imagine, it's
No problem.
fucked up.
But normally we are like 600 people. I think this year we might be like 250.
Right.
Yeah.
And normally you'd already have it locked down. It's just everything's been so uncertain. It's
Yeah.
hard to know what you can do and what you can't do. Anyway, I get organized.
Yeah, but we'll try to get people to wear masks when we're not eating and all that.
And if you can check their vaccination records at the door, that's pretty huge.
Yeah, it's, here comes my dog. I'll turn off the sound.
Yeah, Ange, welcome. Meet everybody.
Hi, everybody.
Okay. So our beginning drawing should kind of look a little bit like this. Maybe I bring this up a little bit. Yeah, that looks a little bit better. Oh, it's my thing. What's going on there? There we go. Sometimes it locks up a little bit. I'll send a picture of this so you guys can see it. So you guys, I'm going to do something a little bit unorthodox. I'm going to let you work on this drawing by yourself. I actually have to go check on something really quickly, which is going to take me about 15 minutes. So I'm going to send this over to you. Are you guys going to be all right?
Yeah, I'm working on my cat. I send you
Great.
where I'm at.
It's coming along. All right. So I'm sending this over. And I'll be back in 15 minutes, but keep texting. I'll be looking at the text.
I'm gonna go grab a cup of tea.
Diana, I wrote the stuff I had to write. I'll send it to you tomorrow. Is that all right? I just want to.
Yeah, that's all right. I have to send something I have to write a piece for the HFPA's annual report. That's deadline today, so I'm gonna do
Oh my
that.
God.
Okay.
Okay.
If you have time, check out my podcast.
I have no time. I have like 0 time. I hardly have time to sleep until
Tell us the name of your podcast again, Paul.
I just put it, it's on WhatsApp. So it's called Thoughts and Everything.
Oh, I like the name. Cool.
Lisa has plenty of time, right? I'm like, I wish I
I
had.
actually drove to Oakland to interview this guy. So I'm hoping
Wow.
it's it's the one that'll get me more listeners. So
Cool.
Are you guys all in California?
Yeah, we are. We are actually.
Okay.
The 3 of us.
Yeah, we
normally
usually have a
there
couple
are
others. I think Rollo will be back next week.
Yeah.
So that'll be good.
Alana is not in California, right?
Yeah, Lana's in New York.
Yeah.
Lana's in New York. And sometimes we have Toshween jump in, but not lately.
Yeah, and she is also in New York, or she's in Brooklyn, she would say, I'm sure. Yeah. It's crazy time for us right now.
Tell me about it. Jesus Christ, this day. All right.
Someone is getting a phone call.
That's not me.
Me.
Must be
That's
Paul.
Probably Paul, and he walked away.
Paul,
It's one of his podcast fans
That was me,
calling.
that was.
okay, turn you off. Stay off until you get that taken care of.
I know, you guys are all screwing me up on my drawing.
Yeah, don't screw Lisa up on her drawing.
I'm gonna blame you guys if it doesn't look right.
Yes.
All right, I'm gonna stay here for now, but there may be a point in which I have to jet off, so.
Okay, well, Diana, I was telling Leah I didn't think you would make it because I know you are crazed.
Yeah,
But this
it's
is
crazy, crazy. It would just be nice to do a few minutes of painting.
just a few minutes.
Yeah, and see you guys.
Yeah,
Well,
well, I wrote the press club year in review summary for the program, and I mentioned our art classes
oh, yay!
as a way to, you know, relieve mental stress and connect with other journalists.
Like, it's stressful, but it's a totally different kind of stress.
Well, I didn't put that part in.
Did you see the email I CC'd you on, Lisa?
I did, but I don't want to talk about it on the recording.
No.
Okay. Okay.
But you can't please everybody.
No, you can't.
Um,
It takes a lot of time trying to be polite to people that are just complainers.
well, you are way too nice. I think I would have just not responded. We have 1,000 members. We can't respond to everybody.
He's not even a member
Oh,
Yeah.
right. Yes, I did see that.
because you think we charge too much in membership because it's all of $75 a year. That has been the same for over 20 years.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, you can't please everybody.
And from some people, we have to learn it's a compliment that they don't like you.
Yes.
I think he'll fall into that category. No names mentioned.
All right, now we're really curious.
No,
So-
we just had a complaint from, I mean, Leah, how it is, any organization, you can't please everybody. So
Oh, Jesus, do I know that? And is it annoying?
There are so many people with a lot of time on their hands, so they can like delve into just being assholes.
Well, now you're just speaking a universal truth, Diana.
right.
Ange, did I mention this is a great venting session?
No, usually I feel like we're a little more
For our
upbeat than this.
mental health. It's for our mental health.
That's okay with me.
But I will say, so you do have to be careful since these are recorded. We have to be careful about what we say.
Yes.
So you just have to be willing to back it up.
Yeah, I know.
Public forum. It's not like it's really public, but I do make these lessons all available on YouTube.
Yeah.
So
No, it's good to be careful.
sometimes we've actually trashed, we've thrown away like videos. We were like, yeah, I don't think we want to have that.
Yeah,
I don't think we want to have that in.
that's true.
Well, you just make us so relaxed that we just start blabbing about all kinds of stuff.
But it is, I really needed it. I really need a few
I
minutes
bet
of
you
it.
do. I bet you do. Yeah, you can't like, I know it's crazy.
It is.
I'm finding the grid kind of helpful here. Me to get my pieces in correctly, so I hope you guys are too.
But it is, I mean, it is so calming to just do a few minutes of this.
It's true. It's a
Yeah.
stress, but it's a different kind of stress. If you can handle it's true.
Yeah, it's really, I'm so happy we're part of this.
Well, and what's nice is you get to be the one who decides, Diana, how long you get to be a part of it, right? So, like, you need to make it part of your benefits package.
Yeah, yeah, that's how we look at it. But if the board says no, then I guess.
Diana, nobody says no to you. This is what I have been told. You're the boss. Nobody says no to you. Diana's like, hey, no, there's a little idea. Nobody says no to you.
Well, some like to argue.
Yeah, but you still do what you want to do.
In some regards, I do when we're really down to the wire
Yeah.
and people start reinventing the wheel because they haven't been there before.
Right.
And it often comes from a very good place, but then I said, we don't have time for this. We can discuss that next year. So it's,
You heard it here first, Lisa.
Yep.
well, Lisa is not one of those. She knows what, Lisa has been part so long, so she knows what goes into stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Lisa is a team player.
I try to be.
Yeah, you are a team player.
You are a team player.
Yeah.
So
And that's a very important trait for someone when you work in an organization. It's super important that you have team players.
Hey, Leah, can I send you where I am so far so you can
yes,
just
absolutely.
tell me now if anything is off?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Like I said, if it is, it's Diana's fault because she's talking to me.
I'm making it better because
You probably are.
you can feel proud of yourself for being a good team player.
Good team player. Lisa, that looks pretty good. You may adjust it a little bit on this side as you start to add in the pieces,
Okay.
but in general, it looks pretty good to me.
Okay. Thank you.
It's good.
I guess Diana gets the credit.
Yeah, I'll take credit for anything I don't do.
You might bring down this little triangle of dark a little bit further.
Oh, I see. Yep.
Listen, but a lot of these adjustments you can kind of make. Paul, yours looks good too. Great drawing, by the way. Ooh, very nice, Paul. Paul, I want to credit you. Your drawing is getting really, really great. And what I like about it is there's a very, I feel your hand in it. It feels very much like you. There's a kind of a slightly wavy take on the line that I really like and I think is very much you and your imagery. It looks great. It looks really great. I'll send mine over. But I want to, you've been working really hard and I want to tell you, I'm seeing it. I'm watching you.
We're all seeing it. We're all seeing it, Paul.
Incredible. He's
Yeah.
made a real jump in skill. And I don't say that lightly. Right? Like I don't say that lightly. So if normally I'm forgetting to say anything nice at all and just working on what the details are. So, oh, I can see this needs to change a little bit. Further out. There we go. That's what was wrong. I was feeling something really wrong with the shape. It wasn't this shape that was the problem, it was this shape. It's funny, very often you'll see that the shape, when you're struggling with the drawing, it's not actually. And where's Christina, by the way? Is she working or something?
She might be.
Your kitty looks really good, by the way, Diana.
Thank you.
So
I'm struggling with what color background I should have, because it will be blue, purple.
how about a slight gold? How about like an ochre-y?
Yeah, I was
Or-
thinking of that maybe that would work, and
If you
would-
want to knock it back a little bit, put a tiny bit of purple into the yellow ochre and a little bit of white to keep it like kind of more neutralized.
yeah, but the background, if it's kind of a muted yellow, it might
That's what I was thinking.
nice.
Yeah, I think that would be really nice. But you just want to make sure, because remember the eye goes first to yellow on any composition. So mute it. You just want to make sure it's not competing with the
Yeah, so like a yellow ochre.
Yeah,
kind of.
maybe a touch of purple in it, just a little bit.
Okay. But won't it be too close to the kitty then?
The kitty is mostly purple with tiny bits of yellow,
Yeah,
right? And it's a values thing. Use a lot of white as well. White will flatten the yellow and make it less intense.
okay.
Yeah.
I'm trying that right now. Yeah, it might not work. It might not be bad. I was thinking that because it would complement the, maybe make the cat pop a little bit more.
Right. Well, we can always shift it,
Oh, yeah.
but I think this is a good way to. In fact, as soon as you get like the basic fur color in of the cat, you might want to try it before you get into too much detail, just to see how it looks.
Yeah.
All right. So if you have gotten to this place, Paul, I see you have, go ahead and erase your grid. Lisa, don't rush, catch up.
Okay.
And Ange, I see a lot of purples in that composition. Don't-
Yeah, I was gonna send you what I have so far.
Yeah, I was gonna say, don't hesitate to like blend in a little yellow into your purple mixes to create a kind of more neutral.
Yeah, I've got a yellow on my plates, but haven't jumped into it yet too much.
Yeah, so with all those purples, that's looking good. With all those purples, a lot of the purples are kind of muted.
They are.
They're almost gray, like this, the light of like the color of this sail is like a muted grayish.
Yeah.
So.
You think the yellow will make that muted?
Yes.
More muted?
Yes,
Okay.
because it's a complementary color. So you want to try different yellows with your purple, and then you want to water it down a lot.
Yeah.
If you want to watch, I'll show you. I'm going to show these guys here. I'm going to show them how to mix grays. So let me show you. I can show you. So we're going to start with the background as we start painting, because we want to get the darkest in first. But let me show a little bit about mixing paint colors, particularly these purple. It's interesting, we're all kind of working in this same color scheme. So you can see this is a fairly purpley, bluish grays. Let me get this here so you can see it.
I think this helps actually. This is a good background color for now anyway.
Good,
for now anyway.
for now.
Oh, yeah, Leah, that totally changed it.
Did that help?
Yeah, thanks.
So just, yeah, so basically whenever you're trying to gray down a color, Ange, you want to mix the complements. So purple and yellow are complementary, red and green are complementary, and blue and orange are complementary. And burnt sienna can work both as a red or an orange, and so can burnt umber. So those are great like colors to mix with. But here, let me see if I can do, so I'm gonna mix a purple. This is ultramarine blue I'm using here, and then a little bit of quinacridone red to make a purple, because I don't have a purple. Oh, that was way too red. Notice, I made the mistake of putting too much red in.
Too much red.
Too
Yeah.
much and never enough, huh?
Too much, and yes. So here is like a basic purple. And now I'm gonna grab a little bit of gamboge, which is like kind of a yellowy ochre, and I'm gonna mix it in. And then I'm gonna do a kind of very watery layer. So I'm gonna come over, I'm gonna do this here because I can just paint over it. So you can see it makes this gray, and the lighter I go, I just dipped in more water, the grayer and lighter it gets. So you'll notice as I was mixing, does anybody want to watch me mix that again just to see that proportion?
Yes.
No, it looks all right. So I'm gonna wipe it out because I know this is the tricky part, because you have to mix two things. You've got to mix your purple and then you have to mix the yellow in. So I'm gonna take blue, ultramarine blue, a fair amount of it, and I'm gonna take a little tiny corner of quinacridone red to make my purple. Not that much. Red, for some reason, is a really, really dominant color. Whoops, I dropped my paintbrush. Right? And then I'm gonna grab, I got like 3 brushfuls full of the gamboge. I'm putting quite a bit in. And if I go straight like this, it's kind of dark. But if I water it down with, if I dip my brush in water, right, I get this kind of beautiful light gray. So that is the gray I'm going to recommend that you mix when you get into this area. And notice it's got this kind of slightly, you could also try mixing a blue and an orange or a red and a green. But really what's here is mostly kind of a purplish. Actually, that's not even true. I often just find I prefer the gray that comes from purple and yellow. I find it's a really beautiful kind of subtle thing. And having said that, you're going to actually first go to the outside here, which is kind of a really dark. I'm actually taking shallow blue and ultramarine and mixing them together, and then adding some burnt umber to that mix. So I need to get more burnt umber. So I'm trying to put this kind of rich dark. I could do this, actually I'm going to experiment. I can do this in a couple of ways. There's some more burnt umber there. I'm going to try burnt umber with my blue, with my 2 blues. That makes a certain kind of dark. Oh, maybe that's too blue. Not dark enough. I could also try, this actually might work better for this particular thing. I could also try alizarin crimson and viridian green. Right, that's red and green as a mix. So I'm going to try that as well. Here's my burnt umber mix. Blue, mostly ultramarine blue, and brown. I'm mixing it. Okay, but now I'm going to try another mix for you. I'm using the bottom of my shirt to wipe this off. So don't do this at home. Or you'll have no clothes left that you can work with. That's pornography. Red. Hang on, I need to get a little bit more alizarin crimson. Oh my God. I might be almost out. Okay. Got alizarin crimson, which is pretty dark. Get over there. Then I'm going to get some viridian green. I like to tell people that, like, I just try not to practice these because I want you guys to see my struggle as I'm making decisions. But literally some days I just don't have any fucking time. You're like, I just don't have any time to think about this before class. This has been one of those days where I've just been running from one thing to the next thing.
You have your big event coming up too.
Yeah, just had a board meeting right before this class.
How many people are you on your board?
There's 7 of us right now.
Okay.
Oh, wait a minute. What's my name?
So that's manageable.
It is. And, you know, really like 3 of us do most of the work and the rest just kind of do support.
Yeah.
So the vast majority of us, we're trying to get funding to pay for our first paid executive director. And the grant application is due now. So it's that's actually where we are at the moment, is kind of in this crazy having to submit this grant application. Wow.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It's a lot, right?
Yeah. But you know, I think I told you when I started the press club, we ran a minus every year. So I worked for almost nothing for a few years till we built up.
Every time. Right. Good. You're good at ED. I know I kind of model our ED idea after you. And we've got a real good,
don't know.
who's the current president. So she will become the paid ED, and I think that'll be a great transition. All right, so you guys can see here, I have 2 different dark mixes. One is this kind of alizarin crimson and viridian green. Not sure how I feel about it. I'm going to lay it down and see. It's very green. I need more red. Ah, now we're getting somewhere. So, ooh, this is viridian green and alizarin crimson. You notice I had to add a lot more color in there to make this dark. I like that because over here there's these kind of pink areas that you can make a little bit more pink as you're adding in your background. This is let's see what the ultramarine blue and burnt umber dark looks like in comparison. Yeah. I don't really think there's any contest. Now you guys know this is my normal go-to, right? Ultramarine blue and burnt umber. But I would say that viridian green and alizarin crimson is the dark we want to mix for this background. So does anybody want me to remix that alizarin, the viridian green and alizarin crimson color so you can watch that?
Yeah, I'd like that if you don't mind.
Let me do that. Hey, notice I'm getting to be a better teacher. I'm asking you if you guys want me to repeat anything instead of zipping right through it, right? This is good. We're getting there. So one of the things I notice about this color is that the green tends to predominate. So I had to get a fair amount of red in there. And see, I'm kind of going back several times, so I have enough, and it's kind of dark and murky enough. So I went into the red several times, I went into the green several times, and now I'm going to test it here. And it's still got a little bit too much green in it. I can tell when I put that on. So I'm just adding a little bit more red. There we go. So I notice when you guys start to mix colors, you get kind of panicky. You know, you throw something down and then you you don't know what to do if it's not exactly the color that you want. So I want to encourage you to kind of test on your paper. In this case, we're actually testing on the paper because I can go really dark here. But you know, test on the side of your paper. I actually have a little bit over here. I can totally, Lisa, you've got all this space on the side. I can test outside until I get the color that I wish. See how I'm continually going back in and like, and actually I want to pull a little bit of this off because I'd like to add just a tiny touch of pink in here. So you see I'm like actually going in with quinacridone red here. I've got some green on my brush, which is okay. I'm kind of layering in a little bit of pink here before I go over on top with green. That's not bad, Paul. That's not bad.
Yeah, I'm behind. I'm still working on the drawing.
Don't worry.
Okay.
I'm just gonna do the background and then I'm gonna slow my roll.
Slow your roll.
Slow my roll.
Yeah, I just worked on the background of the cat and the foreground,
Yeah,
and I'm gonna do more, but it really made a difference.
can you send it over? So we
Yeah.
can-
Made a
So
big-
Angie, you'll also notice about half the people in class are working on the assignment that I'm giving.
Yep.
And half are working on their own assignment. So either is totally valid. I like to encourage that. You can come in, the lessons, these step-by-step lessons are more about skill building, right? So they're for people who want to work that. Diana knows what she wants to work in, and also she went to art school once. At the same,
Oh, what a cute kitty.
is that Mufasa?
The one Diana just sent over.
Yeah, it's really coming along, and she got his expression perfectly.
Oh,
Yeah, I think the background is perfect, Diana. I don't think it's gonna compete with your foreground. I think it's great.
Mufasa, be quiet.
You guys will meet Mufasa in a bit. He's
loud.
loud, but he's awesome.
And my doggy is quiet for a change.
Yeah, that's going, because she,
I'm not gonna say her name because then she might perk up.
is she sleeping?
No, she is not. Is laying at my feet, chewing on something I gave her.
So I'm going all around this flower. And one of the things I want to show you about this as a technique is that I am using this flat brush and pulling back, right? Ah, this is so green. Pulling back. It helps when you're going on the spot or something to start at the very edge with a flat brush like this and pull back. See that? Rather than try to kind of paint up to it like this. This is harder. Start at the
yeah,
edge,
I did that last week.
right? So
Yeah.
start at this edge where now I'm kind of taking my washcloth and my paper, my blankie. Sorry, this is my security blankie. I use it if I need to wipe something off really quick. You'll notice that as this very dark color dries, it lightens. So you're gonna probably have to layer another color on top, but it's good to have the base, to have the darkest color on here, because we're gonna use this to measure all of our darks within the flower. Right, we don't want anything as dark as what's happening out here, so we need to lay this down first. Because you probably noticed last week, it was really easy to get too dark. Okay, now I'm getting into a dripping thing. Dripping is like a problem with my setup. Because my desk is.
And it also looks very good with the dripping.
I do, you know me and my drips, Diana, you're right. I love my drips. I wouldn't change them at all, but sometimes you're like, I do not want drips to go into my white flower. No. So here's the blankie, my security blankie with me all the time. My non-dominant hand. Notice I'm also constantly remixing this background color. I'm not just mixing a pile and then trying to use it all. I'm kind of consistently going back in. The more water I add to it, the, whoops, nope, there we go.
You know what works really well as a blankie when you want to be really detailed?
What's that?
The foam brushes you buy at Home Depot. They're super cheap.
You mean the, like the ones that are used for edging?
Oh, they are used for painting flat surfaces, so you don't get any brush strokes in it, but it gets very precise.
You mean, hold on, I'm gonna show you.
They are sponge. They like a sponge, but they are cut so you get sharp corners.
Right, right. So like, I'm gonna show you one. It's big, but you can get smaller ones. You mean like this?
Yes.
Yeah, I love these. I use these. I'm working on a big 4x5 foot painting behind me right now, and it's all being painted with this. I use this to put on gesso before I start painting a canvas, and I use this to apply, not the same one, obviously, I have different ones. I use this to apply varnish afterwards, because it does.
Oh, that would be good. I haven't used varnish. I have to varnish.
Yeah, I like to use that. I would highly recommend it.
Yep. It also works as a blanket.
It works as a blankie, you're right. It's a good blankie. That's a great suggestion. And I can already tell that before I get into too much detail, I don't know. Oh, I know.
Baby. Baby.
All right, make sure. I might have put alizarin crimson in two of my little dishes here. So. Is that Julia coming in? Oh no, it's Sunny. All right. I'm trying to get in a little bit sort of pinker, kind of more fun. So I'm using, there we go. Pink. Notice I'm kind of laying it on top of my first layer of dark, because I don't want it to be super dark, but I want it to show up. And then there's little tiny bits of cadmium in there too. So,
This is how big she has become.
oh, look at her. Send us a picture.
I did.
Oh, let's see.
Oh my
that's
goodness,
her
look at
one.
her.
Oh, look at her face.
I love that face.
I've never seen her with her mouth closed.
Oh, she's so cute.
Yeah,
Beauty.
She'll be 7 months tomorrow. No, in
Wow.
2 days, in 2 days.
Right. Hey, so guys, look at this. As this has dried, look at how much lighter it's got. So I'm gonna have to go over with a whole new layer to consider to darken it, to get it dark enough. I'm gonna have to go over with a second layer once it dries. Yeah, that's coming along, Diana. Looks so good.
It's gonna take a while because I just don't have the time to spend 2 hours painting. It's like I'm going between painting and answering emails right now.
Hmm.
And talking to my dog.
Right.
Come here. Here. Yep.
Oh, here we go. I'm gonna turn off the sound.
Okay. So go ahead and send to me. Let's see. Paul, that's not bad at all. And you might want to go, I'm going to go in one layer darker.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, just because of the dry, you can't, one just can't get it. And be careful, it's easy, I'm doing the same thing. It's easy to get a little too green. So don't hesitate to pop that more red in as you're going in. And notice once again, I'm kind of pulling, I'm bringing my brush away from the rest of the drawing. Sorry, the light part of the flower itself. And I wouldn't want to use a brush smaller than the one I'm using. It will make you crazy. You definitely want to be able to cover a lot of space. I don't currently have any brushes that don't have other things on them, but I'm going to try the sponge brushes. I think that's a great idea, Diana, and I'll get one for the next watercolor list.
All right, Leah, I'm having trouble with the drawing. Can I send you
Yeah.
where I am? I've corrected a bunch of things, but it's still off and I can't figure it out.
And Paul, if you want to, you can now start going into the darkest parts of the flower. But remember, and I would go with
What color? With which color?
purple and yellow, the purple yellow mixture.
Oh, okay.
Gray. But remember, hold on, see if I can get both of these up. Where's my map here? I'll take a look at that in just a second.
Okay.
Your little map here. Right?
Yeah.
This is a 5. These darks are 3s.
Okay.
Maybe this gray is more blue in it. And remember to leave that little tip white. Let's see. Why do you think you're having trouble with the drawing, Lisa?
I felt like the upper right is a little off.
Maybe a little bit. This,
It looks good though. It
yeah,
looks good.
It looks like a flower, so I'm happy about that.
I'm okay with this drawing.
Okay.
It's not exactly what's happening, but it's enough.
Okay. Cool. I'm gonna erase all the grid lines, right?
You saw the grid lines and start working.
And work on the green background.
Yeah, green, red. Not the green background, but they're green, red background.
Okay.
I know it looks really green right here. So I'm trying to get more red into this mix. So in the last mix, in the purple yellow mix, we wanted to avoid too much red, but in this mix, we want more red than green, because otherwise the green is dominating. What we really want is kind of a dark. Something that reads a little bit less green and more like a dark, like a black. You only get that by getting a lot of red, a lot of alizarin crimson in the mix. So now
Not going very well.
remember how, look at how many times I'm going back and mixing. Watch me. Watch how much I'm going, you're quitting too soon. Watch how much I'm going back in and mixing. Testing, mixing. What, there's a rhythm here. There we go. That's better. Still looks a little green, but a lot less. In a few minutes, I'll start working on the inside. Let's see, Ange. Oh, yeah, very nice. Now I'm gonna look at your original colors. So it looks like you got a little too dark with your, I mean, I'm not gonna quibble. I think it looks good, but it looks like you got a little dark. Oops, sorry, I flirted it to you and not to the, let me try that again. I just like to look at it up close.
Yeah,
So it looks like, so once again, test, don't go too dark with your colors, go lighter. And in this background, it's really more yellow than it is green. And remember that the green has a tiny bit of red in it. Tiny bit.
yeah, I did that. It was too dark.
Well, you lighten it with yellow and more water. So notice, if I'm here, so let's see, here's like a green. Whoops, let's try it over here. Here's a green and some red and then yellow.
Which one are you talking about, Leah?
I'm talking about her drawing, painting, not yours. Don't worry about that. Oh, I've got too much junk on. That's off. So you're not stuck with, here's green. And then here's yellow. Really lighten the green. And then I'm taking a tiny bit of the red and mixing it. And then I'm lightening. So if you can see over here, that first one is too dark, but if I dip my brush in the water again and again, it gets lighter. So you can always lighten with water if your first pass is too dark. But still, it's good. It's great practice. Yeah, Paul, it looks good. Oh, your grays, are you mixing gray? Is
Yeah.
this for your inside? That's way
Yeah.
too dark. That's way too dark. So you
Well,
know,
no, I know, but I just want to get the black for the gray. So before I water it down.
okay, well, show me it watered down. It doesn't really help
Okay.
see it dark if we're gonna be watering it down. All right. Right. And I will mix again. I'll show you again. It was ultramarine blue, a tiny bit of red, not much. Let's see. Even more watered down. Remember, if you go too dark, you can't go back. Now gamboge. So this is how light I'm mixing my grays. See that? There's a lot of water in these mixes. So when I come in here to do my threes, like 3.5s, I'm actually going lighter than I think it should be. So I can layer my darks up later. See how light that is? Because I can make my colors darker, but I can't make them lighter once I go too dark. Hence, you can see these are now the same value, right? Eventually, I'm going to make this darker. But right now, I'm just going in and getting in all the threes. You can see them all down here. Threes and even 3.5. I'm laying those in. 3,
Is there a bit of blue in your background color?
not mine.
Yeah, this is the lightest that, I'm gonna send you the lightest that I have so far.
No blue.
Hmm. What?
Yeah, it's getting better, Paul, but even lighter.
Okay.
So you see, I'm doing the darkest areas, but I'm doing them lighter.
The trouble is the water, if the water gets too murky, then the water kind of just,
So
to
change your
the color.
water out. You should
Yeah.
definitely change your water out. In fact, I'm going to do the same thing. Change my water out.
Mufasa,
Ah,
what do you need? What do you need? You want TV? See all the people? Yeah, okay.
So I think probably one of the things that's not as satisfying about watercolor is you have to build your ducks in so slowly. I think it's frustrating to like see these kind of soft little washes. You'll notice like my first layer here is definitely not dark enough and not blue enough even to get in here, but I've got to layer this up.
Oh, what a cute kitty I see.
Oh, that's Mufasa. Here, hold on.
Mufasa.
I'm gonna hold him up for a second, and I'm gonna add a spotlight. There's Mufasa.
aw,
Aw.
cutie.
Don't show Sandra, she'll go crazy. She'll love him. Look at his little eyes. Look, he's like shedding his little eyes. He's like, ah,
He's so cute. I'm gonna leave you guys. I have to work some more.
all right, Diana, hang in there and thank you for coming.
I am hanging in there.
Yes.
I will send you my stuff tomorrow.
Nice
Thank
to meet
you.
you.
You're gonna kill it. She's gonna kill it. You're gonna do great. All right. Are we ready to kind of move forward a little bit, or do you guys want to?
Can I ask a question first? I'm doing the greenish part of the background. How did you do the red part? You didn't.
I'd started with a kind of a pink, a quinacridone pink wash, and then I kind of went over it with the green.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Yeah. Let me take a picture of this so you can really see. It's a little hard to see. Paul, you're going a little dark, too dark.
Really? For two?
Yes, too dark.
That's two. Now, remember, that's the
That is
two.
not a 2. That's like a 3.5.
Oh, shoot.
All right, pull it back. Take a wet washcloth. I want you to look at this value. I want you to look at this. It's real easy to screw up watercolor. I'm going to show you how light my first dark layers are. Look in comparison. I'm not trying to get this dark right now. I'm going to build this dark up.
Okay.
That's what you guys need to get, because if you go too dark, which you just did, it's going to be hard to go lighter. So I'd like you to take a little bit of paper towel and water so you can scrub off a little bit.
All right.
It might be too late, but might work.
Let's see.
We'll see. But that's what I'm telling you. You can't, this is not like acrylic where you can go lighter later. If you go too dark, you go too dark. See, I can be mean too. This is why you can always believe me when I tell you something looks good. Because I gotta tell you when it looks bad. This is why we're practicing with white objects, because I want you to get how not white most white objects are. There's so little white. Let's see. I have a little bit more I can do. I have to keep mixing. There's some ultramarine blue. Here's a little bit of quinacridone. Whoops, that's too much. I can already tell. There we go. A little red. A little bit more blue. And then Gambo. And then water. A lot of water. Yep. If it's too purpley, more water. So let's see, I can come in here and do this. I'm only doing like the darkest parts of the flower. I'm doing that quite lately. Only the threes. Jesus, I work at a little boutique which sells my paintings in a neighborhood not far from here. And the owner just sent me a picture of the storefront next door. Somebody threw a brick through the window and the whole storefront right next to ours is smashed.
The salty teacup?
Not at the Salty Teacup, next door to the Salty Teacup. Thank God, not at the Salty Teacup.
Ugh.
But like literally next door. Look at this. This picture is ridiculous. It just happened right now. I'll show you. This happened right next door to the shop I work at. Right now. Oh, it sounds like a dude put his fist right through the window.
Jesus.
Oh, ouch.
Fuck is wrong with?
That's not smart.
Look at this. This is how much damage they just did. This is how much damage, which is literally done right now.
Oh, shit.
Oh
Yeah.
my God.
At the shop right next door to Salty Teacup. Right next door.
Is that in North Portland?
North Portland. It's 2 miles from where you were when you were here last week.
Wow.
Yeah. Jesus.
Assholes.
No, and it totally could have been Karen's shop. It totally could have been the shop. I mean, it was literally, she just sent me a note when class started saying, the alarm at next door is going off. And I'm like, I'm in the middle of a class. I can't really help you. And then I thought it was an emergency, so I was going to run down there anyway. And then she's like, oh no, well, that's what happened. Somebody put their fist through the window.
Wow.
Right. There is something in the air tonight. People are acting all fucking crazy.
Is it a full moon?
I don't know. Is it?
I
No,
don't know.
No.
Well, I'm just noticing now that it's dark at 7:30. Usually it would still be light when our class was over.
Right?
Summer is ending.
Summer is ending.
Ah.
Eugene, too dark, too light, way too light. Sorry, so I've told everybody else to go too dark. You can go dark in this background and you really need to, because we need this background dark to establish the lights of the flower. So go very heavy and dark. Mix alizarin crimson and viridian green. So Eugene is Lana's son, by the way, guys. He's also in New York, and they often do classes together. And usually her video never works, and sometimes her audio doesn't work, which is why I'm talking for them. Anyway, hey guys. So the inner part of the flower are lighter, and so we're saving them for last. And these we're not going to, right? We're not going to paint these at all. We're going to keep these light. This is, so Eugene is as light as you went out here. That's how light we're going to have you go in here as we start to paint. So I've done the threes, and now I'm going to do the twos using the same basic color, which is this ultramarine blue, touch of quin red to create my purple. And then a fair amount of gamboge or yellow ochre. See how that goes gray? All right. So I'm going to go again as light as I went here. Boy, I might even go lighter. Look how light I'm going. You can barely see it. I'll take a picture and send it over so you can see how light this is. Right. So look how light, it's so light. So light. And I'm working around this middle area, which is light. So this is fairly light, all this. And then I can go a little bit darker. So using the same basic mix right now. Ultramarine blue, coin red, gamboge. Now I can go a little bit darker here. See, that's when I can start to go darker. Even that's a little too dark. I'll get a little bit more water on my brush. Now I can start to balance out with a little bit more dark. See how I'm building my darks up? And this is the kind of counterintuitive feeling thing that it requires really. And right now I'm just doing a basic gray. I'm not even really getting into the color variations because there's some neat color variations that we'll want. But see how I'm starting to push that a little bit. Now that I've got my base layers in, I can get darker with the others. So I'm slowly building things up.
All right, Leah, I don't know what I'm doing in this corner here. You'll see. I'm gonna send it over.
Just let it dry and we'll go darker later.
Okay,
You want to let this dry and do one more layer
okay,
so that it's super dark. If it's at the moment it's dry.
okay.
Yeah.
And then I'm trying to remember how I made a gray last week because I don't have any of the right colors. I have a Payne's gray, which is not really gray.
You need ultramarine blue,
Okay,
quin red.
I don't have Quinn red.
What colors, what reds do you have?
I
What
have rose,
roses do you need?
rose, okay, ultramarine blue and rose, okay.
And then you'll need some yellow ochre or gamboge.
Medium yellow, I don't have a yellow ochre either.
You need to get more colors, miss. Yeah, try medium yellow.
Right.
But you're gonna want either gamboge or yellow ochre, one of the two.
Oh wait, no, I'm sorry, I do have yellow ochre.
There you go.
All right, all right,
We're about to mix some more, so I'll show you.
okay,
So hang on just a second.
okay, I will watch.
All right. So I take a little bit of ultramarine blue, tiny touch of my red. And then I'm getting a fair amount of yellow ochre in here. That's what kind of makes this gray work.
Yeah, yeah, I can see that.
Mhm. And now, because, yeah, I'm adding more yellow ochre because this area down here, I don't know if you can see it, is a little bit yellow.
Yeah,
In this gray, as I'm building up, you're not there yet, but in this gray, as I'm building up, I'm actually adding more yellow so that it kind of reads like yellow on my second layers. But your first layers, you want them to be very sort of neutrally light gray like that.
and the ones we're leaving totally blank. We're not touching.
Not
there.
touching.
Okay,
And the only ones you're really painting at first are threes. And
okay,
you're painting them very light.
okay. Thank you, that helps.
Yeah, you're welcome.
All right, I have to change my water.
Yeah, you'll definitely probably want to do that. And can you guys believe almost 2 hours has gone by?
No, I was just looking at the clock. Oh my God.
And how are you doing? How's it feel? Does it feel good to be back in the saddle?
Feels a little disturbing.
Well, it's just getting back into, remember, with watercolor, you don't have much room for, with watercolor, you gotta go light. That's the real thing to remember.
Oh, I know. I
Well,
haven't done it in a really long time.
You're good with
Well,
it.
I keep remembering what you told us, Leah, which is that they teach you watercolor last in art school.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I can never believe that people who have never done this before want to do this first. I'm like, why?
I'm glad I'm glad we were at this earlier because I enjoy it much more than acrylic for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's wonderful. Here's what's great about watercolor. It's the most expressive medium. You can do, with acrylic, you have to kind of work to get your textures. With watercolor, there's this kind of magic.
Yeah,
It's like one brush stroke. Look at these brush strokes. This is one brush stroke, right? There's like all this magical texture there in one stroke. The thing is, it comes so fast. You've got to control it more, which I think is the thing that feels the weirdest. Let me take a picture of this.
Ah,
We're going to go a little bit longer since we started later. So don't worry. Need a little bit more time to work this through. And I know you guys have, like, all of you at some point have done a bit of watercolors, so it's a good, but it's interesting to realize as we go back into it, how much we have to control. I think that's the thing. That's why I always start with white, because white really teaches us that we have to pull back. And listen, I'm like a almighty, crazy, you know, throw paint on the canvas kind of gal. And I appreciate that watercolor makes me think more. I'm not very great. I'm not fantastic at it, but I like what it makes me do, which is interesting. There we go. I appreciate it for that.
Yeah. Are we still using the same size brush?
Yeah.
I feel like I'm painting outside the lines. I don't want to do.
So here, where there's a lot more blue in the top layers, I'm actually mixing in the tiny bit of gray, maybe even a touch of burnt sienna is going in with ultramarine blue. I'm testing that to see if I want to put that on top. I want to make sure there's a lot of blue. So I have this kind of base layer. Oops, that's too dark. I'm going over this base layer of purple and yellow with a darker, with a blue and a bit of with blue and a bit of burnt sienna. To get that kind of blue that's happening here. Yeah, it's working okay. I wonder if it's might be more of a phthalo. Might be more of a phthalo that's needed here. And I'm preserving this little white tip. It's really easy to let that. And in here, there's a little bit more kind of brownish. Oh, still a little too dark.
Are we agreeing that this is harder than it looks?
Oh, yeah, it's always supposed to be harder than it looks. Sorry. Sorry about that. My computer just died. Out of curiosity, who became the host? Was it you, Angie?
I don't know.
Oh, it was
It was
me.
Paul.
It was Paul. It's very often the first person who's like, anyway, sorry about that.
That's okay. We're like, Leah's frozen.
My computer died. I had to plug it in. That's never happened in a class before.
So I did the 3s and the 3.5s. Are we doing the 2s with the gray or no?
Take a picture and send it to me. Let me see.
All right. I know you're gonna tell me I'm a little too dark, but I did better than last week, I think.
Okay, good.
So,
Oh. It's a learning curve.
yeah, just getting used to the watercolor as a medium is,
And this is, and it's okay to muck it up, right? That watercolor is the easiest to muck up. Last year, I did 100 days of watercolor.
ooh,
And I mucked up a third of them. I'd say 30 of, like 30 of them were just like at the end of it, I was like, I have to throw these out. Oh, that's not bad, Lisa. That's not bad. But you did go too dark. But
yeah,
it's bad. Yeah, so now you can go, so you need to go lighter on the 2s.
on the 2s. Okay.
Yeah, like way light. Look at the difference between them.
So how do I get a light? I just keep adding water?
Yes,
Okay.
and testing it before you put it on. So
All right.
testing it on the side of your paper. So more of the same color, just more water. We're gonna stay about 10 minutes, 5 or 10 minutes longer. And do you want to send anything over?
Not really.
You do not
I
have,
will.
I have to if you do not want to. There's no requirement. So Paul, you got too dark here.
Oh,
See that it's as dark as here?
not really, but yeah. Yeah, it is dark.
It's as dark as here.
Okay.
If you don't believe me, take a picture of it. Anyway,
No,
you're
I believe you.
there, but you got too dark up here. You did preserve your lights here, but you just got too dark. You went too hard, too fast, too much.
Me too.
Yeah, it's what, it is such a normal, this is why we start with white. To learn how tough it is, how much you gotta pay attention, right?
Need to have a better setup.
And what, do you
Well.
need, do you need to come over there and help you set it up? I'd love to come over and help you set up your studio.
Well, I don't have a studio. I'm working on my same desk that I do work on.
I know, but you know, like your studio. I can come over and help it feel studio-like. If you want.
Need more light
Yeah,
and a better mixing place, palette, whatever you call them.
yeah. Do you know, I love this one, Ange, it costs $10 at, can you see this one I'm pointing to? This
Yeah.
one here is amazing. I got it at Artisan Craftsman. It costs nothing. And it goes everywhere, it folds up, and it can fit quite a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I had one similar to that, but I don't know what I did with it. I've moved too many times.
I was gonna say, you know, you just lost it in the move, right? It's so hard. And then what you guys will see if you look through here, and I'm going to send you another picture of this so you can really see the colors, is that you're going to start with the same gray as you do darker layers, but you're going to see that here, for example, it's a little bit green, right? So you can lay in a tiny touch of sort of yellowy green over the top. It's got to be pretty light. A lot of yellow in it, right? I can come in here and kind of, oh, dark. See, even I'm going too dark. So I'm getting my brush wet and kind of lightening and softening the color. Did you see how I did that? I laid color down that was too dark because I moved quick. I was able to get some of that color to spread out and add more water to my brush. I could get more color in there. There's a little bit more blue up in here. Yeah, but yeah, Paul, it's harder than it looks.
Also, it's also kind of like drawing when you have to with shadows.
It does dry fast and it should dry lighter. It's okay. It's a good exercise. You don't actually have to have a great result for this to have done its job and taught you as well. Yeah, Lisa, it's looking good. Good job. Good layering.
Awesome. What did you use for that blue petal? Aquamarine blue and
I just used, I basically mixed it with the gray. So I already had the
oh, cool.
yellow and I just added more blue. So it became bluer.
Okay.
Well, one thing you might try is to go around with one more layer of dark around your edge. Oh yeah, and then there's this green
Work, yeah.
bit here. So the green is pretty dark. It's like a green, yellow. This is like a 4. The green, there's yellow, there's a touch of cadmium red. Let's try that. Red. So the green down here. But regardless of your result, how do you, I think you guys, I think everybody got somewhere today. Would you say that is true?
Yeah,
Yes.
happy with my drawing, and I think,
Yeah, your drawing was brilliant, Paul. Absolutely brilliant. I don't use that. As I said, I don't say that lightly. I don't say that unless I really mean it. Everybody had success today. It's just like, so I want you to look at those places that worked for you. It's hard. It's really super hard. It's funny how tinged with light colors all these bits are. Like once you get past the grays, some of the grays have more pink in them, some have more blue, some are kind of straight gray. It's an interesting. I'm gonna send this over so you can see a little bit. We'll practice this concept more. I'm going to find something a little bit less
Hard.
daunting. I don't know if it'll be any less hard, but I think it will be less hard because you guys have more experience now. Oh, look, even I think I went a little dark on my two there. Let's see what I can do. See, even I went a little too dark. There we go. That's better. Interesting how easy it is to do that. Send you another picture. Yeah, so I want you to get that the value of this is not necessarily getting it right, but getting better and spending those 2 hours just focused on the task. I can see all of you just like really zeroed in. And that is a really beautiful thing, a gift that you just gave yourself. It's as important as stretching, Angie.
It's the same thing.
Less, but still afterwards, you still have to stretch.
There's different muscles.
Yeah. But yeah, it's a different kind of stretching. Feels really good. Spend a few more minutes just working. In a way, I feel like this teaching is better because you can kind of control your own pace. And I can't, in the classroom, I could always come over and touch your painting or drawing, which is really tempting as a teacher to do. Just lightening this just a little bit. Because you want your student to do well. You're like, well, let me just show you. And that's the worst way to teach ever, right? Like nobody ever really learns that way when you do it for them. But in this case, every gain you make, so Paul, all your drawing gains are really, truly your own gains. They're real. They're not somebody reaching in and, kind of tweaking your doing the two things that need to be done to make this perfect?
Well, there's a big difference between a painting where you have mistakes here and there as opposed to something where you just kind of do something horribly wrong and can't move forward.
Can't fix it, right? Right.
So, I mean, we can't fix the mistakes here, but you can learn. I learned more than it had it been a success, I think.
I think you're right. I think you only really learn by making the mistakes. And as I said, 100 paintings last year every day, and 30 of them got thrown away. Absolutely. So there
This
you go.
one's gonna be thrown away.
Try it again.
Well, I plan on it, but now I know like what I need to do to set myself up for a better result.
Yeah. You know, it would be
Doing
good.
it.
Do you need a little table easel?
No, it's more like just like setting my colors up that I'm gonna use and getting my gray values set up.
Right. It's so interesting. It's so
Yeah. Like I'm a planner anyway, so to
That's
have it all ready to go will help me.
Yeah. And you know, my suggestion, because you're right, your desk converts from your work desk to your art studio, which is true with a lot of these guys, is to have it in a little basket, like right underneath, so you can just pop it up and everything is there. If you,
Yeah.
see
I
my-
mean, I think it's been 3 years since I've painted
3 years.
or drawn. So, I'm not so horrible.
No, hey, Lisa, this looks great. I'm gonna have you do one more thing. I want you
Okay,
to do one more layer on the background. To draw.
okay.
Do that. And I'm
Okay.
hanging around. I think, Ange, I've always thought that you were a natural with watercolor. It is your medium, and watercolor and ink, really.
I do enjoy it.
Because I think it's a very natural medium for you. So it's not going to take you long to jump back into, the swing of it.
It's like going to the gym for the first time in 3 years.
Totally. And you'll just keep burning us.
A little rusty.
Join us every Wednesday, and I want you to really keep in mind what I said. Just come.
Okay. Oh, I had a good time tonight.
I'm so glad. It's good to see you back in the South.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well.
I'm hanging on for another 5 minutes. I want to see what Lisa's background looks like. And then Paula, anything else you want to show me? And Lana and Eugene, go ahead and send me whatever you want to send me. And I'll take one more look at everything, but take a minute.
These look good.
They look okay. Yeah. Coco. Coco, do you want a little pig for a friend?
All right, well, that definitely made the pink area look better.
Let's see.
Coco.
Coco knows who we are.
That's as far as I got, Leah.
Let's see. Actually, this is not bad at all. Not bad at all.
I didn't get much farther, but
It's okay. It's
I
not the
wanted to fix some of my grays.
worst. You did good. There you go, Lisa. Yep.
Much better.
Nice job, you guys. Lisa, everything about, I would recommend you guys keep working on this. This video will be up if you want to review anything that we talked about, or just send me a note and ask me on the thread, and I'll be happy to tell you.
Yeah, I think I might just watch your paint mixing a bit.
Yeah, that's totally why and Ange, I'll send you the link for that. There's a free YouTube link where you can catch every class recording.
Oh, okay. I saw that you had a YouTube thing, but I
do, so I'll send it
what
over
it was
to you.
for.
I'll send it over to you. Paul, getting better. Notice that this should be darker than this, right? This and this are darker than this, which is darker than this.
Oh, yeah.
Darker than this. That's the challenge, right? To adjust everything so that all the values are the same. Right now, this and this and this all look the same to me. This is too dark. This is light, but this is like, see how these have to grade lighter. So that's the practice as we go forward. Yeah, and I'll send it over to you after class is over.
Okay.
Great job, everybody. Really good. Here, hold on. I'm going to remove the spotlight. I just want to see everybody in gallery view. Hold your pieces up just so that we can see them. I'll do the same with mine. Oh, like the truth is, as critical as we can be, these are actually pretty damn good. Paul, we can't see it with your background, honey.
There we go.
There we go. Yeah,
Nice.
we got somewhere. We all got
Yeah, definitely.
there. It looks beautiful. All right, you guys. See you next week.
Bye.
Nice to meet all of you.
Have a good night, everyone.
Bye, Lana. Bye, Eugene. Bye, everybody.
Bye.